Hello, and welcome to episode 96 of Expertise is Overrated, the podcast that takes the time to answer the questions you didn't know you didn't want the answers to. I'm Vib.
And I'm Sean, and neither of us has any clue what we're talking about.
Which means this is going to go about as well as the time everyone tried to throw a surprise party for Lionel Johnson. Yeah, that was bad.
Don't do that.
don't do that.
Don't do that, because he will just freak out and murder everyone.
Yeah. Well, that was fun.
Scratch this. Scratch the episode idea. Who is the best Primarch to throw you a surprise party?
To throw you a surprise party.
And why is it Gilliman?
Why? Okay, very different vibe. I was going to immediately say, of course, it's Russ. Russ, or depending what kind of party you're into, Magnus.
Or Fulgrim.
No, it would be all about Fulgrim.
That's true. That's true. It would be all about Fulgrim. No, you make a fair point. I reckon there'd be quite a lot of them who would be good at a party, good at throwing a party.
Yeah, but I mean that's what Russ is for, no? Surely
he is the party Primarch.
He's the party Primarch. So I mean, yeah. Who would you want to throw a surprise party for? More to the point,
Russ.
Also Russ.
Just anything to do with the party, Russ. Because you get the sense that even if it's a bit shit, Russ is just going to be like, "Did you bring beer? Yes, great. Then I'm happy."
I think Russ or Vulcan or the Khan, I think, would all just have a great time.
Yeah. They all like a party, but they all like a very specific, like what I think of as like a kegger.
Yes, yeah, it's major sort of American frat house vibes.
Mm.
Oh, you went for the whiskey. I should have gone for the whiskey, but
I cheat by keeping my whiskey next to my desk, which is dangerous when you have a bad day at work.
That's a terrible idea.
But I'm never up here, so most other than during the day when I'm working or doing these recordings, so it's broadly fine.
That's why you get through so much whiskey. I see.
Yes,
but we're not throwing.
No, that's because
parties.
I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah. Are we throwing parties? I think it's quite a neat idea, really, isn't it? But
no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that because I haven't prepped that. Although it's a good side conversation for who is the most fun at the Council of Elrond. But no, this is once again we're stealing. I think we're actually stealing from Tumblr.
We're stealing from Tumblr via Reddit. Yeah,
neither of us
we're
is
not
on
stealing.
Tumblr.
We're riffing off of somebody.
We're seizing the inspiration.
Yes, someone called Tyrannid Online, which I think is a fantastic name as well.
Yes.
Posted about Primarchs taking the ring to Mordor. Like this person does. There's a few of these kind of things where they'll come up with these interesting situations. Because the one immediately underneath that on Tumblr was Primarchs back at the hotel after a conference or something like that.
That's amazing.
Which I also thought was quite good.
That's very, very good.
But no, this one's focusing on the Primarchs, I guess, as you say, at the Council of Elrond, and then deciding whether or not they will join in.
Yeah.
And how that goes.
This is safe to say it went better than the Horus Heresy went, based on Tyrannid Online's opinions. I think we're going to have slightly different opinions because that's what we do.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed reading it. And it's definitely got my brains whirring. So let's, I guess we just start at the top and work our way down.
Well, I mean,
how do we want to frame this conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I think right off the bat, we can just discount, the two Primarchs that don't exist.
We don't know.
Because famously they are, in fact, Sauron and Morgoth, so...
Well, clearly.
That doesn't need any further explanation. The poster didn't go into Alfaris and Omegon, or just
I
Alfaris.
quite like that. I went, I don't know anything about these guys, so I know how the fuck it goes.
Yeah.
So I'm leaving it alone, which is also the most... It's brilliant because it's true. The poster knows nothing about them, but that's also the most Alpha Legion response.
Yeah, exactly.
To the question.
That's why all the answers that I was sort of coming up with for those two are some variation of, oh, Alpharius was Frodo all along, or oh, Gandalf was just Alpharius. Sauron
Actually,
is Alpharius. He's working from behind the scenes to bring down the entire network.
Actually, neither Alpharius nor Omegon are there, and they sent Inigo Petch instead.
Also an option, like those two work in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, I think in the interest of not doing a sort of usual, let's go one by one.
No, okay.
Because there's, well, if you exclude those three, 17 of them, right?
17, 18, yeah.
I mean, we can probably work with Alpharius, but I thought we could try to break this down into a matrix, apply some science to it.
Oh, good.
So essentially picture sort of quadrants,
You've lost me already. I thought we were talking Lord of the Rings, not Star Trek.
Okay, thanks for listening, everybody. That was probably the record for the quickest one yet. Worst joke we've had.
It's such a shame that this podcast at the moment is not a visual medium, because that was the most broken man look a man has ever had on his face. That was excellent.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't expect Star Trek to come up in a civilized discussion like this.
I think it's a shame that neither of us are into Star Trek, because that would be infinite content.
Yeah, I quite like some stuff. I just haven't watched nearly enough of it.
Yeah, I'm in exactly the same boat as you. I like Star Trek. I am not into Star Trek.
Yeah, but who doesn't like Patrick Stewart? Just doing his thing.
Pick your captain. Sorry,
we're doing another episode. So I'm thinking a
Matrix.
Matrix.
Okay.
Right. So essentially, I'm trying to break this down into how good would they be at the basic quest, as in take the ring. Yeah, like take the ring to Mordor with the Fellowship. That we'll have to sort of caveat that with whether or not we think that they would be the ring bearer, but I guess we can come on to that.
I think we need to draw some tram lines.
Yeah. So I think there's that, as in how effective would they be at the quest, versus how resistant are they to the ring's influence.
I like that. That's
right. So essentially, you end up in it with this sort of grid where you have someone who's very good at the quest and also very resistant, all the way to the other end where they're shit at the quest, shit at the resistance, and then the sort of two bits in between where you get some really interesting things, like someone who's really shit at the quest but quite resistant, as in think Lehman Russ.
Yeah. Yeah. No interest in the ring whatsoever, but also
like a lot of shit happens, and at some point the ring will probably get destroyed. But
or someone who's really, really, really good at the quest, but also is just going to put the ring on straight away.
Yeah, which in my head is Horus in a nutshell, right? As in he would be the perfect quester.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got Horus and probably Fulgrim in that quadrant of just like, yeah, these guys would be really handy, but
I just don't rate Fulgrim as much as you. Maybe
I'm not sure you get Fulgrim out of Rivendell.
That's the thing. I think he'd be very ineffective. He'd just be like, "Wow, Glorfindel, you're so handsome. How do you do it?"
I suppose that's the thing. So I guess we have to. I think they have to be the 10th member of the Fellowship.
You're adding a 10th member to the Fellowship. Yeah,
I think so. I think
seems
that's
unfair
the best
on
way.
the Nazgul, but that's
well, fuck them.
Yeah,
I think that's the way. I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
They become a 10th member of the Fellowship.
Well, they could also just be Boromir, who
Yeah, potentially.
he tried. No, I think a 10th member makes sense, because I think the Boromir interactions would be absolutely hilarious. 10th member, I don't think that. Well, I don't think they should set off as the ring bearer.
No,
and there will be undoubtedly some who become ring bearer instantly.
the initial composition of the Fellowship, other than the Primarch, is exactly the same.
Yeah,
including Frodo as ring bearer.
Yeah, and obviously goes without saying, it's just the Primarchs. Lionel Johnson does not get to bring the entire First Legion.
Nor does he get to bring the Watchers. It's literally just the Primarch.
Well, he doesn't necessarily get a choice in that, but yeah, I agree.
Vaguely speaking, I also think we have to accept that to a greater or lesser extent, depending on the Primarch themselves, the Nazgul, the Balrog, and Sauron have to be in the region of a threat to a Primarch level character.
Well, that's an interesting question, isn't it?
Well, maybe not the Nazgul because they're a bit different, but sort of.
Well,
It doesn't
Sauron is
make
because Sauron is chaos in many ways, right? As in, he's a corrupter. He
it
gets
doesn't.
in the
Yeah,
mind.
it doesn't make sense because they can't just be an I win. Some of them might be an I win button, but like I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's fair to say that the Balrog is pretty akin to like an Avatar of Cain style thing, right? Which realistically
Fulgrim,
they shouldn't 1-to-1 with great ease, but in the books
no,
obviously do.
some of them might be able to take it, some of them might not be. It's not a certain thing. And then I suppose your point of Sauron is like, well, Sauron's power is in his corruptive influence rather than his strength.
So Sauron poses a problem, for example, to like Angron, right? Because you can't go and punch Sauron in the face because he doesn't have a face.
Exactly. Yes.
But okay. So I do agree. The Nazgul...
The Nazgul may be less.
Maybe less so, but the Saruman, I guess. I
maybe.
Mean, it depends on how this all goes, right? Because I'm sure there are certain scenarios where I think my favorite from the Tumblr post was definitely Corvus Corax, which is just the ring disappears. 3 months later, Mount Doom explodes. Tolkien loses 800 pages. It's just that tracks.
That's pretty good. Just puts Frodo on his back. Right, we're off.
Yeah, I think he's high effectiveness, high resistance.
I think
it doesn't need to be resistant because he just does it so quickly without anybody even knowing that the ring's already gone.
For corruption. Yeah, I think so. Right. So do you want to do it on a matrix by matrix? So
let's start with in my opinion, the obvious one. So who'd be really good and wouldn't fall to the ring? I think the Lion for me is firmly in that spot because he's meant to be incorruptible and he's just pretty good all round.
Yeah, I mean, I think he doesn't materially change many of the outcomes, right? You're giving like another top tier combatant. Yeah, basically.
He's just a sort of, I don't know. He's a kind of sulky. Yeah. He's an almost sulkier Boromir.
Yeah,
whilst being somehow a sort of more regal Aragorn. I don't know. He's like exactly. A
weird. the only complexities that you might have there is Boromir might not try to take the ring because he might have been executed by the Lion.
Yes,
20 days earlier, and Aragorn might not try and take the throne of Gondor, and Arnor because he's just sort of spent the last 6 months watching the Lion going, he's a much better king than me.
Yeah. No, I think I agree. And I feel like somehow the Lion would well, there's two versions of this. Either the Lion would somehow liberate the rest of Middle-earth while they're just on this merry quest, or he does the Dark Angels thing. Is like, this is too shit. I'm just going to destroy everything.
This is too messy, and you know what? No.
We have
not worth it.
Middle-earth will blow up.
Someone get the invincible reason. I have a job for it.
Yeah. Which I would argue still very effective.
I think you're absolutely right. I think, no, you cannot claim he's highly effective if his effectiveness is I killed everything, including the good guys.
I fully disagree. It's peace. It's the end of Eru's song. It's like it was always intended. He saw the coming of Lionel Johnson.
Bloody hell.
Okay, so who do you have in that category?
High effectiveness, high resistance. I want to put... Well, I'm not sure that's actually right. Oh, he's back. We lost him for a second. No, we lost him for more than a second. This is good. My co-host has vanished. I have no idea if he will be returning, so you get me until either I get bored or no. My monologue continued. He's back now. I was about to say Gilliman, but actually, the more I think about it, the more I think Gilliman's actually not quest effective. I think he's highly resistant, although I'm not actually even convinced that's true. But what Gilliman is good at is not the quest.
I think it's a fringe case because I think Gilliman would be hugely impactful to the Fellowship in that I think he would very handily coordinate the various wars going on Middle Earth and
Yeah, I
essentially
think
win a lot of those battles, giving the Fellowship a sort of free shot. But he's not part of the Fellowship that way, right?
what Gilliman does is takes the Fellowship out of the question. And he
Yeah,
goes,
he's like,
"Doesn't
Sauron wants to
matter what-
fight, we'll give him a fight. Like,
doesn't
he'll
matter what
lose.
we do. Doesn't matter what we do with the ring. I will just win the war of the ring, and then sure, Sauron can have Barad-dûr because I can't throw it down, but like, there's nothing else left." Oh, and also I invented the steam engine just because I was busy.
So he's bored.
Vulcan. I'm gonna replace
Vulcan.
Vulcan. I think Vulcan is high effectiveness, high resistance.
I like Vulcan, except I feel like he'd be the guy. He would out Gandalf, as in I think he would square up to the Balrog, fight and lose. Or not,
Maybe,
but like lose in the same sort of sense as Gandalf, and then
but
maybe come back because Vulcan always comes back.
Vulcan lives.
Exactly, yeah. But that's the thing. I think in such a short space of time, everyone's like, I think he's still alive, but he's just no longer part of the quest.
Yeah.
So he'd have taken out the Balrog, and the Fellowship would keep Gandalf, but he wouldn't become Gandalf the White. So,
which is probably bad. I'm also going to throw the Khan into this bracket.
I think the Khan. Yeah, I think the Khan's a given, right? I think the Khan spends 2 weeks inventing jet bikes, puts the entire Fellowship on his back, and just is in Mordor in the space of 2 hours.
The only problem is the Khan might get distracted in Rohan. It's like, oh, you guys fight on horseback. These are my people.
These are my
Bye,
people.
guys.
But he wouldn't
But
get
then
to
he
Rohan. Well, yeah, he'd take the gap of Rohan for sure, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he's like, we're not going to caves. No, we'll just go past Isengard really fast.
Pretty fast, yeah. Yeah, so high effectiveness with the caveat that he doesn't encounter the Rohirrim, yes.
Yeah, he's got to get through the gap of Rohan so fast he doesn't see the Rohirrim.
But I think the Khan is sort of, he's got a sensible head on his shoulders that he'd like, let's just quickly do this ring thing, and then I'll come back and we'll ride, yeah?
I think given what we see of the Khan, and given of the people that are sent to try and corrupt the Khan, particularly Magnus, I think the Khan has very high resistance to the ring.
I think so. I think it's the sort of thing that just doesn't mean anything
Doesn't
to him.
care. He has no interest in rule. I think he's a Sam. The Khan is a Samwise character. There's nothing the ring can tempt him with, because the only thing he wants is the horizon.
Okay, so we're saying the Lion, the Khan.
I'm saying Vulcan.
I think I'll give you Vulcan. I think he'd be valuable to the Fellowship. He may not make it to the end, but I think he'll have done a good job.
Yeah.
Sanguinius, I guess.
Sanguinius is the one that I'm not sure about. He's either high effectiveness, high resistance, or he's high effectiveness, low resistance.
Like I said, what Sanguinius actually do is be really sulky and sit in a corner because Glorfindel is just a better version of him, and he's just really upset about it.
What Sanguinius gives you is the hardest of hard counters to the Nazgul.
Yeah, but the Nazgul aren't really that much of a problem.
This is the thing. You basically get an eagle. You get one of the great eagles. Like, I'm the biggest Sanguinius fan in, I think, the world. Like, and I don't see how he specifically makes a difference, other than the fact that he's just, like, axiomatically the best Primarch.
But he could be, why didn't they just ride the eagles to Mordor? I think you just put Frodo on Sanguinius's back, and they fly to Mordor and the quest is over.
I think that's true. The only thing is, I'm not sure whether Sanguinius tries to take the ring from Frodo, because it's too heavy a burden for Frodo to bear. So Sanguinius thinks in his sort of martyrdom way that he should carry it. So I think there's an enormous amount of hubris to Sanguinius because he's so aware of his own fantasticness.
So what would that end result be then? Aragorn strikes him down.
Oh, I mean, Sanguinius goes through Aragorn like a hot knife through butter.
Whoa. Calm down. I don't think that's true, A, in this universe. B, I think this happened so early that you have Elrond, Glorfindel, Like the entire council is essentially at this point just up in arms against Sanguinius.
Yeah, and Sanguinius makes a mess and then takes the ring to Mordor.
Doesn't even destroy it yet. He goes by Barad-dûr, somehow throws it down.
I think as I say, I really I love Sanguinius, but like he really definitely thinks he's the only person who can do hard jobs.
Yeah. The idea of a fellowship to him would be weird, I guess, right?
And I think that's, I mean, he wouldn't be able to countenance the idea of the hobbits coming, I don't think, because he can bear that burden. Why should they have to?
Yeah. I think with Sanguinius, you'd end up with the opposite problem of Guilliman, in that he'd be so focused on it and so keen to take up that job himself, as you say, that doesn't galvanize the free peoples of Middle-earth, and they just all collapse, and then he stood effectively in a wasteland, having effectively nuked the world, because Sauron's armies have taken out all the free peoples, and then he's taken out Sauron, and it's literally just him left.
So he might be. I wonder if he's actually low effectiveness, high resistance. I'm not sure. There's something. He's not the right character for the Fellowship. I'm just not quite sure exactly where he goes.
I think we'd stick him in low effectiveness, high resistance. That feels right to me. Yeah, that feels right to me.
Because I suppose there's nothing that the ring can give him. There's nothing that he can be tempted with. Because he has no desire to rule. He has all the power he wants.
He could be high effectiveness if he's willing to listen to Aragorn and Elrond and Gandalf early days. If they can just sort of sit him down and be like, no, this is why this needs to work this way. He
does listen to Dorne during the siege. He absolutely sits behind people who he knows are better at a thing than him. And he comes right in behind Horus as War Master, harder than anyone else. So maybe.
But then Frodo shows up already having been stabbed on Weathertop, right? So I think he'd be very hard to convince.
I think that's the problem. I think he's almost...
I think we put him in low effectiveness, high resistance, with the potential to move up.
And we see who else is in that bracket.
Yeah. Because I don't think... I mean, Corvus, I think, hands down, right? Is just super effective, super resistant. So I don't think there's anybody else on our list who would be in that bracket. So let's try the low effectiveness, low resistance.
Low effectiveness, Horus.
No, I think he's high effectiveness and low resistance. I think low effectiveness, low resistance would be Perturabo.
Because Perturabo... So this is the difference between Perturabo joining Sauron and like torpedoing the quest, and Horus thinking that he could do the quest himself and then just like taking over from Sauron and becoming...
Yeah, no, I think Horus would be completely on board with it, as in he'd sort of say, yes, of course we have to destroy this ring, we have to root out evil, but then the ring just talks to him. But as in, if the ring wasn't an influence in the quest, he would easily do it in the right way, I suspect.
Yeah.
Maybe it was slightly sort of, it's like Gilliman-esque tendencies.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Perturabo, though, low effectiveness, low resistance.
Because he'll be bitter about something from the beginning. He'd be focused on, I don't know, examining the Black Gates, should he even get that far, and he'd fall. There's absolutely no chance.
He would just fall really, really, really hard. I'm also going to put Ferrus in this bracket.
Ferrus, I really like the way Ferrus was done in the post, honestly. Sort of just...
I think if you can call it that, because I really liked it as well.
Yeah, he thinks the entire situation is ridiculous because the enemy put too much of himself into a physical object and then lost it, which is strategically embarrassing. He tries to break the ring with hammers, ancient smithing techniques, and things nobody should use indoors. The ring whispers promises of power, and Ferrus responds, your tolerances are sloppy. Sauron is insulted.
The image I have, the reason I think that Ferrus is low effectiveness, low resistance, is that Ferrus uses the ring to make another ring.
Yes, I think
to do
so.
It better.
I think he'd be so offended. He'd be like, Sauron, this is how you do it.
Yeah, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it properly. I made you a new one, put it on, and then I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
In my head, I saw a scenario where he'd get to Mount Doom, and then his hand gets chopped off, and that's how the ring falls into the lava.
Potentially.
And then his head. because
Yeah,
Fulgrim just shows up for reasons.
Fulgrim's like, wow, bye.
So I'm
Actually,
inclined to agree with you, but I can't quite figure out why he'd be low effectiveness, low.
he'd be low effectiveness, but further, he thinks the whole thing is a bit daft, and surely he'd be low effectiveness, low resistance because he would want to use the ring.
Yeah, I think that's right.
That's the problem. He would not accept that he could not use the ring. He would just go, well, I am going to use it. I'll be fine. I'm awesome. And he puts the ring on his finger, and the ring is like, guess we win. Later, bitches.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I think so. You just said someone else who I was like, no, definitely them as well. They're primed for this, but I forgot who it was. Fulgrim. Fulgrim is rubbish and has no resistance whatsoever.
Oh, Fulgrim it's a non-starter.
As we said right at the top, you can't get Fulgrim to leave Rivendell, and also there's an object that whispers temptations, and we know how Fulgrim does with temptation.
Yeah. He doesn't leave Rivendell. He just sits there with the ring.
Yeah.
Not really doing anything either. He just sits there with the ring.
Stroking it.
And Elrond's fine because I guess that means that they can maybe just win the war.
It's like, if we tell people that they're coming to damage the ring, then that'll get Fulgrim angry, and he looks like someone who would be good if he was angry.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so I think he's a contender, but yeah. I think that's about it for the genuine total
I think
write-offs.
we're gonna have a few floaters, I think. Sort of like, where do you put Kurz in this? Other than like a wild card. Everything's just worse with Kurz in it. But I don't really know.
Worse with Kurz. I always forget about Kurz. What would you do with Kurz?
I think he's low effectiveness, high resistance. Potentially.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, I think
would he be low effectiveness?
The Fellowship wouldn't want to work with him.
Yeah, and he wouldn't want to work with them
either. He'd be bad
either.
for the Fellowship.
It also feels like he'd somehow like attract the Nazgul constantly somehow.
Yeah, but also he'd try and skin them.
Yeah. Yeah. He'd become the Witch Emperor of Angmar somehow.
Yeah, it would just all be a bit weird.
Yeah, I think your shout. I think that's a good shout. Low effectiveness, very high resistance. Because I think he just wouldn't engage with the concept, or he'd think the concept is too straightforward and make it, as you said, really, really kind of weird and fucked up.
Yeah. Because it all sits within his like weird future sight stuff that I've never quite got my head around. So it would all depend on whether the ring showed him a vision of things being good or things being bad. Like, I don't know.
More to the point, the lion would show up and kill him. It's just complete, as in they've just got to Lorien and all of a sudden this like the guy comes out from the forest, from the trees and just chops Curz's head off and then leaves again.
Everyone's just like, I mean, we're not sad, but that was
exactly.
Weird, right? Everyone agrees that was weird.
We sort of feel like that someone did us a favor, but we can't work out what happened. But let's just keep going.
Yeah, no one stop. Everything is fine.
Yeah, so I think low effectiveness, high resistance is absolutely the right shout for Kurz.
I'm also going to put Angron and Mortarion in this.
See, Angron's the one that I can't make up my mind about because I almost feel like he could be top tier. I think he could be high effective, high resist.
He might.
But I can see where you're coming from with the low effectiveness.
You'd never get him out of Moria. I think that's the problem because there would be things to kill.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And if you do, then he gets stuck at like
then he's in Lorien,
various other places. Yeah,
that's not good. That's very not good. He'd be useful at Helm's Deep.
Oh no, but Galadriel would definitely just bar his entry to Lorien. Like he's just not getting in.
Not a chance. And then Angron's like, I'm sorry, do you think you can stop me? And then it's all terrible again. I think Angron is just a problem to the Fellowship. but I don't think he's a problem because the ring is a temptation to him. I think he's a problem because he's Angron.
I think the ring wouldn't even register amongst his various other whisperings and the sort of the pain spikes and whatnot. So,
and we know how he feels about like emperors and tyrants and things like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he'd be super resistant, but probably no real value add.
I think that's right.
The suggestion in the post was that, you know, they just find that all the orcs within like a 20-mile radius are already dead. It's like, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, right? If you can harness him enough to get him walking with the Fellowship, then the Fellowship strolls to Mordor.
Well, so the point is, I think Moria is the key thing here, because he would get stuck at the doors, right? So the Fellowship would catch up to him again. Him having sort of tried to bash in various bits of the of the mountain. Then they go in, but because he's so angry and so loud, the Balrog essentially shows up immediately. And just in the crossfire, in the melee, like half the Fellowship, all the hobbits are dead. The ring just gets lost in the chasms of Moria.
There's a lot goes wrong in Moria.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think a lot goes wrong with Angron's presence.
Yeah.
But it could work. But the odds are not high.
He's like, you got a 1 in 10 chance, right? A 1 in 10 chance the whole thing is sorted in a week. But the 9 in 10 is bad.
Yeah, the 9 in 10 is very, very bad. Yeah, yeah. So I agree with you there. I think so. Mortarion was the other one you said, right?
Yeah, I think so. For sort of,
I don't think he ever shows up in Riven though. He looks at it from afar and goes, "Nah,
it's too nice. I'm not going there."
He might wait outside somewhere, but
no. Mortarion, Frodo and Sam meet Mortarion in the Dead Marshes because that's the only place that Mortarion feels at home.
He's actually already in the films. He's the guy who tries to drag him down.
This is pre-Nurgle Mortarion, to be fair. He's just that weird. But yeah, no, they meet him in the Dead Marshes, and Frodo and Sam run away because he's creepy and looks like the Grim Reaper. Mortarion takes that personally and virus bombs the Shire.
I don't know. Mortarion's a weird one because I think I see him sort of being a little bit akin to Gilliman in how he'd behave. I think he sees Sauron, and I think he sees Sauron as a problem, and I think he wants to get rid of that problem. He gives no shits about the ring.
That's true.
And the Fellowship.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he's like, that's everything over there is too clean, too healthy. Like the elves don't even get disease. The fuck?
Don't like that. Don't like
that's not okay. So I think he literally goes to Barad-dûr and tries to punch he sort of spits on the eye, and somehow that just rots it from the inside out.
Mortarion hears the elves don't get sick and thinks the elves don't get sick yet.
Yeah.
Give me time.
So Mortarion shows up in somewhere Morgoth goes, oh, interesting.
This guy has promise.
Even Ungoliant is slightly afraid.
Yeah, so I think Mortarion goes in this bracket, but for very different reasons.
Yeah. So far we've ended up with 4 top tiers, 3 lowest tiers, 3 in the middle. There's still quite a lot left. A lot of them left. Okay.
Well, we haven't put Sanguinius in. We haven't put Horus anywhere.
Yeah.
We've not done Russ. Russ is low effectiveness, high resistance.
I think we can safely say Russ is super low effectiveness, super high resistance.
Yeah, Russ is just ring.
Russ is like Angron, but somehow I don't know what's the word. He's not so.
He's less friendly, fiery, but he's more likely to get distracted by beer. basically.
Yeah. So again, to riff off the original post, Boromir says one does not simply walk into Mordor, and Russ immediately stands up and accepts it as a dare. So I think Russ joining the Fellowship would be he's waiting for them at the Black Gate.
Yeah. It's hands behind his head, feet on an orc.
So it's like if the Fellowship makes it to Mordor, they'll be fine with Russ, but he's no help to them until that point.
Until they get.
And obviously would have put Mordor on edge because this fucking huge guy is just showing up. It's like Beorn, really, isn't it?
He also just bangs on the Black Gate.
Exactly. He simply walks in.
He does the Aragorn speech, but just him.
Yeah.
He's not talking about justice. He's just going, I can see you.
Yeah. The gates are not to keep the orcs in, but to keep Russ out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
it's a very different film.
It's a very different film. But I think Russ definitely fits in that category. So let's think about the high effectiveness, low resistance ones for a sec. I think we have Horus in there.
I think that's right.
Is my shout.
I think that's right. I'm also going to put Magnus in there. In that, for the 10 seconds before Magnus picks up the ring, because it's forbidden knowledge, Magnus comes up with like 1,000 new ideas of ways that they could deal with it. So he's going to be really useful. But then the ring's going to be like, I know things. And Magnus will be like, gimme.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would he be effective?
He's like an unlimited Gandalf.
It's a funny way of putting it, but yeah, I suppose that is true, yeah.
He is effective. He's smart, he's powerful, he would be able to make it stop snowing at the top of Caradhras and stuff like that.
Yeah, as in he would have a million different ways of destroying the ring successfully without any loss of life, and then choose not to. Yeah.
But he doesn't do any of them, because why would you?
Would he take out Sauron, you think? I always feel like he wouldn't.
He'd probably think Sauron was misunderstood.
Yeah, I think he'd try to fix him, right?
He would. He wouldn't even try to fix him. He'd just go and talk to him.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a fix thing. He'd be like, I need to know both sides of the story. And Sauron sees him coming and goes, I'm so confused, but okay.
I mean, Sauron's effectively just someone with daddy issues himself, right?
It's true. They'd bond.
Yeah, so I think I agree that he'd be high effectiveness, low resistance.
This is good.
Who else would be high effectiveness, low resistance?
So who don't we have yet? We don't have
Dorn.
We don't have Gilliman.
We don't have the Khan, do we?
The Khan is
we have
high,
the Khan.
high.
Yeah. The Khan's a legend.
We don't have Dorn. We don't have Gilliman. We don't have Sanguinius. We don't have Alfarius.
Yeah. And we don't have Lorgar.
And we don't have Lorgar. Oh, I hate Lorgar.
I don't know. I've got no idea.
Lorgar is a low effectiveness Primarch. Always. And he's low. He has to be low. He has to be.
Yeah. I mean, even the original post suggests as much, right? I think Lorgar would be subjugated by Sauron.
I think he would. I think he's the only one that would be. Well, with him and Perturabo. But he's terrible. This is the worst possible option for Lorgar. He'd end up worshipping Morgoth.
Yeah, true. Yeah, whereas I think he'd think he's in charge, but Sauron somehow is actually in charge.
Sauron was just playing him like a fiddle. So
Lorgar just low. So then we've got, I think Sanguinius. I think he's low-high. I think he's low effectiveness, high resistance. I think I agree with you.
Yeah, he's either low-high or high-low.
No, I don't think he'd be bothered by the ring at all. I
think he's just. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's absolutely.
Yeah. Like I said, I think the only situations if like the three sort of wisest guys in the Fellowship can sit him down, or in the Council can sit him down and just have a little word with him, or if Ilúvatar himself came down and was like, No.
Stop it.
If he has a little Gandalf the White moment himself, then I think Sanguinius would be high. But if he just shows up cold, yeah, I think everything that you've described would come to
I think that's
pass.
the problem. He tries to fix everything himself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Guilliman and Dorn.
So Dorn, I think, he's high effectiveness if you're planning to destroy the ring in the next 5 millennia.
Yeah, it's just a
on
really slow creep, isn't it? He builds a fortification around the entirety of Rivendell, and then another one, and then another one, and that's just how they get to.
Yeah, the wall just gets bigger and bigger. So from the Elven point of view, they're like, "Oh, this is great.
That's just fine." Yeah, no, this guy's great. We love him.
While the race of men just quietly dies in a corner. So I think for that reason, he's probably going to be low effectiveness.
Is he?
But
is he at risk?
I feel he's resistant to it. No, would he not be?
I mean, he doesn't fall to Khorne in the Siege of Terror when Khorne spends millennia trying to break him. He nearly does, but he doesn't. So I think he's got to be high resistance.
I think he's high resistance. Yeah, I think he's high resistance.
I mean, I think he has to be high resistance. He's the literal embodiment of a wall.
Yeah, but low effectiveness. I mean, even if they somehow convinced him to not, make a fortress every evening.
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can, but you wouldn't get him past places like Minas Tirith or Osgiliath, let alone when he gets to Mordor. It's like, wow, the natural fortifications in this place are, fantastic.
Yeah, but, I mean, he's going to get to Helm's Deep, and then you've lost him.
I wonder what he'd say about Helm's Deep, yeah. Aside from which moron put a coffin. Yeah, exactly, yeah. There's a hole in your wall. No, I think he would see that as that's where the Primarch stands during the battle. Yeah. You don't need to build a wall there. Yeah, so I think you're right. I think he'd be low effectiveness. Great entertainment value though. Like I said, the elves would love him. So who are we left with then?
Rowboat. I think we're missing someone as well. I can't make the numbers add up. I think we're missing someone.
Well, Alfarius is missing.
Alfarius is just a wild card.
Alfarius is on every single one of the grids in the Matrix somehow.
Yeah, depends on which Alfarius turns up.
Like I said, he was Frodo all along.
Yeah.
He's small.
He is small.
Well, let's try Rowboat first.
Rowboat has the Horus problem of he just wins the War of the Ring rather than doing the Fellowship, because the Fellowship isn't a logistics problem fundamentally.
Yeah,
there's no point where the Fellowship go, oh, we wish we'd planned this better. Really,
I think maybe if Elrond just says, listen, we can win the war, but that doesn't fix the problem. It'll just happen again. The thing that stops this from happening is we destroy the ring, and then you can go off.
But Guilliman to that says, well, isn't it easier to destroy the ring once you've won the war? Yeah. Which I've just done, by the way.
Yeah, well, it doesn't... Yeah. Oh, so he's another low effectiveness, high resistance, you think?
I think he might be high, sort of sideways.
It feels weird to not put him in high, yeah. There's always the sort of the...
So the urgency for the quest is that Sauron is going to win. If they don't do the quest, Sauron will win, which is why they have to do the quest. Guilliman changes that calculation entirely.
Yeah, but he might also just reform Numenor and make Middle Earth Secundus, and sort of.
He might. There's a very small risk that he goes, I'm now king of Rivendell.
Yeah, and then he just sails west and has a little word with the Valar, being like, let's reassess who's in charge here.
What you guys need is a regent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's somewhere between high and low high.
But because the thing is, even with all those caveats, I feel like he'd still be high effectiveness. I think he just does all this in before the Fellowship wake up.
I think the problem with Guilliman, the actual meta problem with Guilliman, is that he might actually be the best Primarch. everything other than actually fighting in single combat.
But even at that, he's not bad, right?
He's not. That's the thing.
The issue is he looks
bad
too
at that.
flashy because he doesn't seem so flashy, right? Like his armor is like ridiculously ostentatious. But he might well be the best Primarch. Except, I mean, he isn't, to be clear. To be perfectly clear. But he might be.
No, because the best Primarchs are, in order, Sanguinius, the Lion, and Horus. But also, it might actually be Guilliman.
Exactly. Might not be this, so he might be Guilliman, but yeah, that is a problem. That's the thing. I somehow back him to win the war and still get the ring to Mordor at the same time.
I think he has to be high. I think that we see enough of him in the Horus Heresy books that, like, he just would be really good at anything you got him to do. So it's like when Elrond, for example, says, even if I had 10,000 elves of the first age, I would not send them. Guilliman is the one who goes, well, I've got 10,000 first age elves, and I'm going to bring them with me.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, where did you get 10,000 first age elves? And he's like, I've recruited them 20,000 years ago. Don't worry about it, it's fine. I knew this was coming, it's fine, planned it.
Yeah.
They're coming with us, it'll be great. And everyone's just like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I do back that. So that's all of them, not counting Alfarius.
Not counting Alfarius. Is it? Have you checked? I feel like we're missing someone, but I can't work out who.
Well, we got Vulcan, Lion, Khan, Corax, Guilliman, Horus, Magnus, Kurz, Angron, Mortarion, Russ, Sanguinius, Dawn, Lorgar, Fulgrim, Ferrus, Perturabo. That's actually already 17. Oh yeah, plus Alfarius.
Alfarius is 18.
Yeah, 18.
Yeah, and then 2. Easy.
Yeah, I think we nailed that.
So to recap, the best people to take are Vulcan, the Lion, the Khan, Corvus Corax, or we kind of can't help but say Guilliman.
So out of those, who do you think is the weirdest one that ended up there?
Guilliman? Because Guilliman is up here. Guilliman is a statesman, he's a president, he's a ruler, he's a general. In a way that sort of the other 4 aren't. So he wouldn't be my top pick from those 5, but he's probably actually the best pick from the top, from the other, or the Lion.
I feel like we're doing the elves a real disservice here, don't you? I mean, they're older and wiser than any of the Primarchs. Like, this shit sometimes just can't be won. I think we might be giving people like Guilliman and the Lion too much credit, right?
But the elves...
Like, even...
I don't think the Lion wins the War of the Ring. I think the Lion puts Frodo on his back and strides to Mordor.
Oh yeah, no, he does that, but then he wins the War of the Ring.
Yeah, but Aragorn wins the War of the Ring after Frodo destroys the ring.
Yeah, true. But I think the Lion would then say, once every last orc in Middle Earth is dead, he would turn his attention to, the men of Dale, the dwarves of Erebor, being like, you guys let this all happen. He goes to the Easterlands and he goes to the Haradrim and he just wipes everybody out. Everybody who has even had a shred of complicity in the ring.
You don't have the question with the Lion that you sometimes get people asking on the internet about Aragorn. Like, did Aragorn kill orc babies? Because the Lion did. Like, he definitely did.
Yeah, the whole Rings of Power thing just couldn't happen, right? It's like, there's no sympathy.
No. Chippity choppity.
Yeah, I think the low effectiveness, low resistance ones, there's absolutely no surprises on there. Well, Ferrus maybe, actually. But it makes sense, because it's not that he's low effectiveness, it's that he's just disappointed.
Yeah. I have said it before. I think Ferrus comes out of the Horus Heresy series really, really badly because of the change of pace. From we're doing this in 6 books to we're doing this in 60 books.
Yeah, and he's dead. It's a bad look.
Yeah, but you don't get nearly enough characterization of Ferrus. Ferrus, like, is introduced and dies in the same book.
Yes, this is true, actually, yeah.
So all of his characterization is in that book, or is written after that book to justify things he's done in that book. whereas every other Primarch gets 20, 30 books of characterization.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't.
Wow, we've not had
Also,
any major arguments. I think the Primarch's too easy almost, right? Who else in the 40k universe that you can think of in the last couple of minutes would be really, really good at this, and who would be really, really shit at this?
It'd be really, really shit at this. Trazen the Infinite.
He'd be fantastic. What do you mean?
he'd
He'd take the ring. He'd take the ring back to his collection, and then everyone in Middle Earth is like, "What just happened?"
He'd be terrible at destroying the ring.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't. But I think he would take the entirety of Barad-dûr with him as well. But I could see that. I could see that. I disagree, but I could see that.
Who would be really, really good at this?
Also, what are you thinking about that? The Emperor? How do you think he'd get on with this?
Puts the ring on.
Puts the ring on and just bends it to his will. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he puts the ring on and harnesses Sauron to his will.
Yeah. I mean, he's effectively Morgoth, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's the point. His power, certainly after Moloch, is of an order of magnitude greater than Sauron's. I don't know. The 40k universe scales so weirdly. I think it there's lots of people who you could come up with who would like try and use the ring. Who like basically every Inquisitor.
Yeah, Inquisitors I think are the sort of probably high effectiveness, but
low resistance,
questionable resistance. Yeah,
well, you see it so well with Eisenhorn, right? Eisenhorn starts out as a Puritan, and then by the end he's putting demons into dying people to get them to kill Titans or whatever. And every step makes sense along the path, and then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh.
But that seems to be the point, right?
Now.
As in, if you have an Inquisitor who's really good but hasn't been doing it for very long, I think they'd be okay in this situation. Because it's like one of the first bits of evil in Chaos.
I think that's right. That's right. I think it's Ravenor who says it in either one of his books or one of Eisenhorn's books. Like, his theory is that every Inquisitor becomes a radical eventually, because that's the natural progression of doing the job. You just have to do enough good before that happens.
Yeah, I think someone like Celestine just shows up and she might have the same sort of sanguineous problem. Or dies repeatedly, but that's the point.
Celestine does.
I think someone like Ghazghkull could be really interesting.
Ghazghkull doesn't care about the ring, but here's that there's a big boss in
exactly the big boss with a lot of orcs. He's like hang on a minute.
Do you guys know the word wah?
Yeah.
Let me teach you.
I'd like to think that he's a very softly spoken sort of guy. Yeah, Ghazghkull. I think any Eldar would. I mean, fuck knows what would happen. Something horrible, no doubt.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the Eldar, but I don't think he's good. I don't think they're who you want helping, because you'd have them like looking into the future, being like, oh, there's a 1/10,000% chance that an Eldar might stub a toe doing this. So actually, what we're going to do is we're just going to wipe out this entire planet.
Yeah, that, or they'd sort of show up at the council, say something completely unintelligible that they think is really meaningful, and then fuck off again, and then wage some really odd campaign around Middle Earth that's like really destructive and really off-putting and really distracting that they think is helping.
They burn Erebor for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason. They're like, Erebor needs to go, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think the Primarchs kind of are a little bit too easy for this game.
They're too much in shoeboxes already, right?
Yeah, this is the thing, right? So we don't have anyone in the high effectiveness, high resistance category who doesn't stay loyal. And we don't have anyone in the low effectiveness, low resistance category who doesn't fall or die.
Yeah. Yeah, but Ferris is sort of the odd one out there, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just because he dies.
I think the low effectiveness ones, I think, are the interesting cases, right? Because it sort of says something about
because there's some really good Primarchs in there, some like absolutely top tier. You know, you got Russ Sanguinius Dor and Angron. These people who if your job is go and make that army gut disappear, they're exactly who you want. But
I sort of feel we might be being harsh on Leman Russ. I mean, I'm a Dark Angels player, so I'm allowed, but I think there's a world in which he does his speed run to Mordor, bangs on the door, walks in, just to show he can do it, and then comes back out and just helps the Fellowship.
I think there is a world in which Russ is really helpful and really effective. I think it's just that Russ is so mercurial. There are so many different faces to Leman Russ.
Yeah.
Basically, I think he's also.
Well, he might just hear, oh, Sauron bad guy must assassinate Sauron. And then just spends ages trying to figure out how to do that.
How do you kill a spirit?
Yeah.
There is an element of that as well. He suffers a lot, Russ in particular. All the Primarchs suffer this to a greater or lesser extent, but Russ really suffers from sort of being characterized through memes more than through anything else.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I think. I think he gets done dirty a little bit, doesn't he?
His actual sort of true characterization, if you like, is much deeper than that, much wiser, really, than that, which might bump him up into that high category.
Yeah, I think that there's scenarios where you can get a lot of them into a high effectiveness category if you just rely on largely Elrond, Galadriel, and Gandalf and people like that sort of doing their jobs in Aragorn.
Yeah,
just being convincing.
Yeah, I think that's true for Russ, Sanguinius, and Dorn, basically. I think all of them could be convinced to be helpful.
Yeah, but you're just never in a scenario where Fulgrim is going to not take the ring. I mean,
no, there are some absolute, and you're never in a scenario where Horus doesn't eventually take the ring, or Magnus.
Yeah. The only thing depends on if Fulgrim is so enamored by something else he sees, and that's the thing he wants. As in, if he gets tempted by something else,
I'm not sure there is anything else there. That's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know.
The ring is the greatest prize in Middle Earth,
but then the Valar could show up and do all sorts of shit.
But
there you go. I think it was quite fun. It's always good to talk about the Primarchs and sort of
it's fun
different
to talk about the Primarchs. It's fun to talk about Lord of the Rings. I think this format of sort of taking problems from one world and putting people from another world into it is quite good. So we should think about that.
Yes, heroes of Middle Earth who would make for good Legion commanders or Primarchs, effectively.
Which is one for you. Which Legion does each member of the Fellowship go to?
Oh, well. I was instantly going to say, Sam's going to Fulgrim, but
Sam's going to Fulgrim?
I think Sam's going to Fulgrim early on for the enjoyment in life, and then very quickly realizes he's made a huge mistake. But I think we might leave that as a bit of sizzle while we mature those thoughts in our heads before I say something ridiculous again.
That's horrific. On that horrific image. Thanks for listening to this episode of Expertise is Overrated. No doubt we've said some things that were either objectively wrong or downright offensive. As ever, feel free to let us know. Rate the podcast wherever you can. Check out our Patreon for bonus content and come chat to us on our Discord.
If you're lucky, we might just argue with you in one of our upcoming episodes. My word. If you're really lucky, we might call you an idiot. Come back next time for some more absolute nonsense.